When one thinks of the major players in the Tekken franchise, we would all be forgiven for thinking that there are just the Mishimas, and then there's the rest of the cast. But what about the quarrelsome Williams sisters? Whether we are talking canon games, non-canon games, or even the movies, there's very little of anything that happens without these two being involved in some way. Despite their less than stellar mission success rate, these two ladies never seem to have any issues being hired by the top brass in the Tekken franchise on a regular basis. This tells us that their level of skill and expertise greatly trumps all of their shortcomings. In fact, the only ones that seem to be capable of impeding them are, well, themselves. So what if these two were able to find common ground and band together rather than constantly fighting amongst themselves? How could such a partnership affect the Tekken world as we know it? Let's find out. Anna and Nina Williams were born and bred to be femme fatale prodigies by their father, Richard Williams, and their mother, Mrs. Williams. Nina was closer with her father and took to his teachings more than Anna did. Anna, conversely, gravitated to being closer to her mother. This disparity also tends to show itself in their personalities, as Nina tends to be more cold and callous, while Anna, more times than not, will try and mend things with her sister on more than one occasion, only for her attempts to be met with unwavering contempt from Nina. This, along with other factors, can logically be construed as the fuel for their continual rivalry over the years. For one reason or another, these two just do not see eye to eye, and they have been at it for all but one Tekken tournament. But for a little more context, let's take a brief look back into their history. Unlike most competitors who seek to claim the title and prize of the Mishima Zaibatsu, Nina was actually contracted to take out Heihachi Mishima, but as she was very young and inexperienced at the time, it seems she may have had some internal conflict regarding this, and did not follow through with her mission. During this time, the rivalry between Anna and Nina was relatively benign. But when Nina stole one of Anna's high heels and slapped her, the seeds for their disdain for one another took root. In Tekken 2, Nina was assigned to take out Kazuya Mishima this time. Though Kazuya had no shortage of enemies in Tekken 2, it seems the person who had the most to gain from his downfall would in fact be Heihachi. So it might be fair to assume that he was the one who commissioned her to undertake this contract. Nina, however, had plans of her own, as she wanted to settle the score with Anna. This trend continues throughout most of the series, up until Tekken 5 and onwards, where their hatred for one another reached fever pitch, as the two were now actively trying to take each other out by any means. Though Nina clearly showed to have the advantage over Anna in terms of skill from Tekken 1 to Tekken 4, by the time we reach the 5th tournament, it seems Anna has all but closed the gap on her sister, with most of the exceptions stemming from Anna's proclivity to let her guard down and allow Nina the opportunity to best her once more. Throughout their work for prominent members of the two major rivaling factions, G Corporation and the Mishima Zaibatsu, neither Anna nor Nina ever seemed to be out of place or taken aback by being surrounded by the likes of Ogre, the Devil Gene, or Azazel. More interestingly, both of them also have extensive knowledge of the ins and outs of both of these organizations, as they manage to get closer than anyone else from the cast has ever been able to the main players, the Mishimas. Both have been contracted at some point to take out one of the mainline characters on more than one occasion. So, what if Nina humoured Anna and took her up on one of her offers to cease their bickering and actually pool their efforts to achieve a common goal. With their extensive knowledge and experience of the inner workings of the Mishima Zaibatsu, can you imagine how much of a force to be reckoned with these ladies would be if they were a team? Nobody who has ever claimed the Zaibatsu has ever had a reign that was not tenuous at best. This seems to suggest that these conglomerates are highly susceptible to espionage, subterfuge, and seduction. 3 fields that the Williams sisters arguably excel greatly in. In my analysis, it became apparent that the gap in skill between Nina and Anna was noticeable largely up until Tekken 5. Anna did not appear in Tekken 4, so it's likely she took this time away from the tournament to close the gap between them. Tekken 5 was the first time we canonically saw them engage in what essentially was an all-out war that lasted for days on end. No one was able to land anything decisive, and they resolved to settle the score in the 5th King of Iron Fist tournament. So, for the last 3 tournaments, it's clear that Nina had ample opportunity to take Anna out. But, evidently, we also can't forget that there always seemed to be an element of playfulness in their encounters. This creates the picture that, irrespective of their intent or words, their rivalry predominantly does not exceed anything more than gamesmanship. Their rivalry also seems to be a vehicle for them to test and better their skills. But what do you guys think? Do you think the sisters could ever set their differences aside? How do you think the Tekken universe could be affected if they ever decided to work together? Could they overtake the Zaibatsu and the G Corporation? And if so, would they decide to merge these 2 corporations, or rather decide to destroy them? Or, just as with the Mishima family, could their rivalry one day swelter to make the Williams family the new dominant force in Tekken? Leave a like if you enjoyed this discussion and found it interesting. Be sure to also let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.